Hello everyone, welcome back to Speak Easy English. I'm Lisa, and as always, I'm here with my amazing co-host, Tommy. Today we are going to discuss an IELTS speaking test and give valuable feedback on how to improve.
Hi, everyone. That's right, Lisa. But first, for those who don't know, the IELTS speaking test is a part of the IELTS exam that evaluates your ability to communicate in English. It consists of 3 parts: a personal introduction, a long turn where you speak for 1 to 2 minutes on a topic, and a discussion with the examiner about more complex ideas.
Exactly. Now let's listen to a real IELTS speaking test. Pay close attention to fluency, vocabulary, grammar, and pronunciation.
Okay, this is the speaking test of the International English Language Testing System, taking place on Thursday, the 6th of August. Center number A, AF111, and the candidate is Daniel Odema. The candidate number is 0131. The examiner is Erica Sees. Examiner number 443. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
My name is Erica. Would you please tell me your full name?
My name is Daniel Odema.
Thank you. May I see your identification, please?
Sure.
Thank you. In the first part of the exam, I will ask you some personal questions. Are you a student or do you work now?
Presently, I am working as a teacher.
Presently, I am working as a OK. And why did you choose this job?
I chose to become a teacher because I feel like teaching is part of me. And when I am in the classroom, I really feel happy that I help my students improve themselves in a wide range of areas. And what I like most about teaching is I feel like I'm elevating the level of knowledge of my students.
OK. Is there anything about your job you would like to change?
Not really. However, when I come to think of the payment, I wish I could go back in time and opt for another career because of the low payment. Sometimes it really brings me down, and it's the thing that really keeps me frustrated all the time.
Right. I'd like to move on and ask you some questions about shopping. Who does most of the shopping in your household?
Well, actually, it's not only one person who does the shopping for the household. I would say it's a shared responsibility, and everyone has a role to play in the household. So we always tend to go shopping together.
OK. And what type of shopping do you like, and why?
What I like most about shopping is buying presents for my friends, or maybe for people's birthdays, or even Christmas. My favorite store is a bookstore, which is in the least of my top priorities, and I believe if I buy a book for someone, it is not only considered a gift, but also I can help that person gain another piece of knowledge, so it brings me a great sense of satisfaction.
Great. And is shopping a popular activity in your country? Why or why not?
It is indeed. On Thursdays and Fridays, people pour into the streets and shopping centers. It's considered more of a leisure activity than aiming to buy something practical. So, I see that most teenagers and people go shopping, sometimes window shopping, or they wander around the mall. So, I don't think they buy something practical.
OK. So, what type of shops do teenagers like best in your country?
Well, I haven't thought about this before, but obviously, like any other teenagers, they are much more into shopping for clothes, makeup to beautify themselves, or maybe music stuff, and these kinds of things.
Right. OK. Let's talk about films. How often do you go to the cinema?
To be honest with you, I don't even get to go to the movies. I only manage to watch 1 or 2 films every week, and after a long day of teaching, what I love most is snuggling up on the sofa and watching my favorite film, which really helps me unwind. I usually do this on Fridays.
Right. And what type of films do you like best?
I'm very much into drama and historical movies because they help me gain a better understanding of historical events in the past and even about the human emotions in the past. So, I believe there's always something to learn from past historical events and even to pass it on to the upcoming generations in the future.
Wonderful. OK, that is the end of part 1. We'll now move on to part 2. I'm going to give you a topic, and I'd like you to talk about it for 1 to 2 minutes. Before you talk, you'll have 1 minute to think about what you're going to say. And you can make notes if you wish. Do you understand?
Yes.
Wonderful. Here's your paper and a pencil. And here is your topic. You now have 1 minute to make notes. Okay. You will now have 2 minutes to speak about your topic. Don't worry if the time is over. I will stop you after the 2 minutes. You may start speaking now. 2 minutes is over. I will take your papers back now. Thank you very much. That is the end of part 2. We'll now move on to part 3. So we've been talking about an important event in your life, and I'd now like to ask you some questions related to this.
Part 1. Daniel's performance. Overall, Daniel did well. His fluency was decent, and he answered all the questions appropriately. However, there are some areas where he could improve to get a higher score.
Yes, he spoke clearly, but there were a few grammar mistakes, a need for a wider vocabulary, and a more structured way of answering.
Exactly, let's break it down step by step.
Part 2. Areas for improvement. 1. Grammar accuracy. First, grammar accuracy. Daniel sometimes made mistakes in sentence structure and prepositions. He should focus on using more complex sentence structures correctly.
Yes. For example, he said, "It's the thing that really keeps me frustrated all the time." A better way to say this would be, "It constantly frustrates me," or "It's something that really gets me down." Another example, Daniel said, "I feel like I'm elevating the level of knowledge of my students." Instead, he could say, "I feel like I'm broadening my students' intellectual horizons." This sounds more advanced and natural.
2. Vocabulary range. Used some good words, but he repeated certain phrases too often. Expanding his vocabulary with more precise and varied words will help.
For example, when he talked about shopping, he said, "People pour into the streets and shopping centres." A more natural way to say this is, "Shopping malls and streets get crowded with people looking for deals and leisure activities." Instead of, "I love buying presents for my friends," he could say, "I take great pleasure in selecting thoughtful gifts for my friends."
3. Coherence and structure. His answers were good, but could be more organized. A good trick is to use linking words like furthermore. On the other hand, that being said, for instance, let's take one of his answers. Daniel said, "What I like most about shopping is buying presents for my friends, or maybe for people's birthdays, or even Christmas." Better, more structured version, "I really enjoy shopping for gifts, especially for birthdays and Christmas. It's always satisfying to find something meaningful that will make my friends happy." See how that flows better? He introduces the idea, explains it, and then adds an example.
4. Pronunciation and intonation. He spoke clearly, but his intonation was a bit flat at times. He should practice adding natural stress and rhythm to his speech.
Exactly. For example, instead of saying everything in a monotone, he could emphasize certain words. Instead of, "I love watching movies after work because it helps me unwind." He could say with more natural intonation, "I love watching movies after work because it helps me unwind."
Small adjustments in tone make a huge difference in how engaging and natural his speech sounds.
Part 3. How can he improve? So, how can Daniel improve? First, he should practice complex sentences without making grammar mistakes. Reading and listening to academic English can help with this.
Yes. Next, he should expand his vocabulary by learning synonyms and idioms.
He should also practice speaking with better structure. A good trick is to answer in 3 parts. 1. Introduce the idea. 2. Explain it. 3. Give an example.
And don't forget pronunciation and confidence. Watching English movies, listening to native speakers, and recording himself speaking will help.
Part 4. Final thoughts. So, would Daniel pass the test? Yes, but to get a 7.5 or higher, he needs to work on grammar, vocabulary, structure, and pronunciation.
That's right. We hope this feedback helps Daniel and anyone else preparing for IELTS. Remember, practice makes perfect.
You found this episode useful. Don't forget to subscribe and join us next time for more English tips.
Thanks for listening. See you soon.